And welcome back to the show. We are here with, I cannot do Bill's voice when we introduce the erstwhile. You got it, Bill?
Erstwhile Poet Laureate Rich Michelson. And this is NPR, Northampton Poetry Radio.
The secret is to be breathy, right?
All right, yes. He's got plenty of practice, doesn't he? We're not going to go there this morning. We'll save that for another show.
Well, Rich Michelson, there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. So I am here to let people know about a poetry reading at Forbes Library this coming Friday at 4 o'clock. It is poetry in times of crisis. It will also be live streamed.
What relevance does that have to today?
Unbelievable, huh? It will be live streamed. If you go on the Forbes Library site, you can get a link and you can watch Poetry in Times of Crisis. William Carlos Williams famously wrote, "It is difficult to get the news from poems, though men die miserably every day for the lack of what is found there." And we're going to talk a little bit about what brings poets to the newsroom, what poetry can do in times of crisis, what we can talk about, etc. We're going to be talking about the war in the Middle East. We're going to be talking about anti-Semitism, racism, homophobia, COVID, global warming, gun control. We're going to have a great time. But I promise you it'll be fun. There'll be a symposium. We'll have some poets talking. I will be there.
I just want to remind folks, once I had the wonderful experience of appearing at a couple places with Bill Newman and with Martine Espada, and what we did is we read the poems of Guantanamo. For 12 years, I represented Guantanamo detainees, and they had these styrofoam cups that they got to deliver their water in, and they wrote poems on them. And of course, the military destroyed 25,000 of them, but not before Professor Mark Falkoff was able to publish a book. It was so poignant to see this incredibly heavy political thing expressed through poetry.
And Buzz, that is happening. I mean, today there is a huge burgeoning of poetry in Ukraine. And when we ask our Ukraine friends what we can do to help, they say, send money and let us keep writing our poetry. We've seen that. I mean, and the people in the concentration camps would carve out on scraps of bread poetry. But can poetry help us today? That's the question, how we can talk about it. So we're pleased that
and that's going to be at
the Forbes Library Friday. And
at what time?
At 4 o'clock.
Is there a charge?
There is no charge. It is accessible, and you can also watch from your live stream at home.
So who, Rich Michelson, will be there presenting?
Okay, so we are going to have Jane Ben-Julian. We're going to have, Jane was, her latest book is 5 Sextillion Atoms. She's a Fulbright scholar, director of new play development at the Magic Theater in San Francisco, and chief speechwriter at Apple. We will have Owen Lewis, whose Field Light won a Mass Book Award, the Rumi Prize for Poetry. He is a Columbia University professor in medical humanities and ethics, and he teaches narrative medicine. And Owen has a brand new book out, A Prayer of Six Wings. And as the poet Rich Michelson said on the back of that book, I'll read it for you here, few have been able to make poetry out of the horrific October 7th events and their aftermath. In these poems of witness are immediate, musical, and humane as they ask, how then and when can we imagine peace? There will be myself reading, and another area favorite, Leslie Newman, our dear friend who has written 87 books for children, adults, teens, and Leslie will be reading from her newer books, I Carry My Mother, I Wish My Father, and October Morning, A Song for Matthew Shepard. Leslie has 2 National Jewish Book Awards and just about every other award you can want. So we will
there be an
hopefully
opportunity to question and
there'll
answer?
be questions. We'll have a little talk between ourselves. And hopefully we will welcome Leslie in one moment.
Well, it appears we have a technical issue right here. Bill?
Yeah, technical issues.
Technical
I
issues.
don't see your emails to me.
Oh, okay.
The other technical issues, and therefore I can't follow them with the forward the Skype link to Leslie. That's a problem.
All right. Well, that's a problem. Okay. So I wish I had their poems to read here.
So what you should do is invent a poetry, because this is a time of crisis.
This
Rich.
is a time of crisis. So
Why these two poets and you? Why for this? I mean,
Owen Lewis is by country. His children and his grandchildren live in Israel. He has spent the last year going back and forth from Manhattan to Israel. His new book is about living in Israel during this time of crisis. So he will be reading poems about the Israeli-Palestinian situation and how we're going to find peace in that. Leslie will be talking about certainly Matthew Shepard and the homophobia that still exists, and with trans people is getting worse and worse and worse as far as that goes. I'll be reading a little bit about the failure of gun control in this country. I think people who know me know that it has affected my family directly. My dad was a victim of gun violence. And we also want to...
Dad died.
My dad was a victim of a shooting, and I have spent my whole life trying to repair race relations. We were one of the few white families in a black neighborhood. I have been working for gun control my entire life. It is a cause I am sadly losing further and further every year.
Well, we're all losing that have been working for social justice all our lives. But what I want to, in the minute we have left, Rich Michelson, I'm a prose guy. That is, I'm a news hound, right? But what is it that poetry can convey in a time of crisis that we can't otherwise get from the newspaper?
So, when we think back of the huge turmoil in history, we often think of the poems that came out of it. W.H. Auden's poems, some of the great World War II poems. And certainly what poems can do is, in Ukraine, as I say, all the poets are working. It can give us, in short times, in bursts of speeds, it can help us retain our humanity, and then pass it on to others. We need to recover language, especially today when we're living in an Orwellian society where language tends to mean the opposite of what it should. It's up to poets to find the truth in language again, and truth is something we are sadly lacking today.
So powerful. That's a great way to leave it.
So, Rich Magazine, tell us when and where, please.
Okay, so at the Forbes Library, it will be live streamed, but please come and join us in person at 4 o'clock this coming Friday. What is that, the day? I don't know, the 4th, 5th?
That is the 4th.
The 4th. We will also be, if you miss it and you want to go to Stockbridge on the 5th, we will be at the Stockbridge Library as well.
Rich Michelson, thank you so
Saturday.
much. Poetry in times of crisis. Don't miss it.